If you're ready to go, take it away.
I am ready. Thank you very much, Kim. We appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Pretty excited to share some thoughts with you here about embracing IT strategy as a way to improve your business. Oftentimes in these situations here, I like to put myself in the client's position and really think about how to approach things from their standpoint. What matters to you as someone inside your organization, not as somebody outside of your organization. And so we look at a lot of these things, and we try to find tools and concepts that are going to help improve what you can do and what your business can do through effective use of technology. So pretty exciting stuff for me, and I thank you everyone for joining us here. Wanted to just get a quick overview of the agenda here. We're gonna start out with talking about why we want to focus on an IT strategy. There's been some traditional views for how we handle IT. Some of that is evolving. As I looked at this topic, more and more, it's less. You just can't ignore IT anymore. You just can't have it be secondary. You got to integrate it with your business, and it's got to be part of your core business strategy going forward. It's just too hard to get along otherwise, and that's kind of what inspired this presentation. After we talk about IT strategy and the whys of it, we're going to talk about decision makers, talk about your C-level executives and what they're thinking about and what's troubling them the most, and what some of the solutions or ways of addressing that are going to be. After that, we're going to talk about what can be done about that. We're going to talk about what else might be coming from us. This is going to be a nice overview of a lot of the potential options that you have. And the what next is going to lay out some upcoming webinars we have, where we're going to go much more in depth on some of the tools and solutions that we can provide to you. And of course, there's time for questions at the end. Looking forward to that. Let's talk about IT strategy. Looking at it from a traditional view, I love the quote there. IT always shows up, spouts unintelligible jargon, and asks for huge lumps of cash. I think this is an experience that a lot of people have had historically, and this is not an uncommon view out there. IT is looked at as a necessary evil, or a secondary consideration of some kind. You need to have it, but it typically represents pain to you more often than positive outcomes, and that's a really unfortunate circumstance. And we want to work with you to change the views of that, so that IT again can be effective support of your business strategy. Oftentimes, IT is also seen as a line item on a budget. It's looked at primarily as cost, and it's hard to see the value of your IT and your investment in it. There's frequently a short-term focus when it comes to budgeting for IT. You're not looking out 5 years ago, or you're saying things like, hey, we just spent $40,000 on servers 5 years ago. Why do we need to do that again now? So it's a pretty dim view from a budget standpoint. And then the core issue really that causes some problems with the traditional view of IT is a lack of trust. You wonder, what are those IT guys really doing? Is this a real problem or actually a simple fix? And it's fair to say that historical delivery of IT support and services is sometimes focused on the job security of the people providing it. So your motivations are going to be different and aren't necessarily always going to be in the best interest of the organization. So there's some difficult issues that need to be overcome there. Looking further ahead with your IT strategy, if you take a strategic view, the quote we have here is, you wouldn't wing it on a 5-year business plan, so why do people do this with their IT planning? It's a great question. IT planning should require as much strategic decision making as your business planning. You really want to start thinking long term. Where are you going to be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road? You need to be able to predict the needs and control the timing of your IT expenditures if you want to have IT properly support your business plan. It needs to also support every business initiative with the relevant infrastructure. The analogy here is that you can't have good interstate commerce without an effective interstate highway system. So you got to build the basis, and from that, that's going to properly support your business. In addition to that, IT needs to have flexibility. You need IT that can change and adapt to changing circumstances. So we talk about long-term planning, but we all know that business conditions can change within a year, within 3 years, within 5 years. Plans are going to need to change. If you are properly considering and planning your IT strategy, it's going to have the flexibility to adapt to those changing circumstances and again, be a more effective support for your long-term business needs. So yes, as we said, IT should support your business in every way, all the key business processes. Some examples of this: if you're an online retailer, your website is business critical. You can't have that fail, you can't have the infrastructure supporting it fail, and you can't have the people who work on it fail. Similar examples: if you're in a manufacturing and design company, you have large data storage needs for your drawings and your 3D models and your other design files. You need also to be able to share them with the right people in your organization as quickly and easily as possible. So, it's business critical. And another example here, if you're in something like retail, you need to make sure that that your point of sale systems and your inventory systems are available during all business hours. An hour of downtime in retail can be a death sentence. You're missing a lot of revenue at that time. Finally, you want to look at IT as a long-term investment. Most people historically see IT as kind of like an investment in a car. It's something you got to have to get from here to there. It's a basic need, but we all know that it loses its value almost immediately. You drive it off the lot, and you've spent all this money, and sure, you have a shiny new car, but it's just slowly decreasing in value as it goes on. We want to turn that on its head. You need to look at the big picture in the long term for IT investments. It's not just a investment now, it's investing now so that you pay less later, so that your costs are reduced later, so that your employees are more productive going forward. In a nutshell, good IT is an insurance policy that's going to help reduce the risks that you have going forward and give you ways of dealing with those risks as time goes on. So the next item that we're going to go to is what concerns decision makers. We want to know what keeps you up at night. We have Alfred E. Neuman here saying, "What me worry?" But we all know that when we're looking at our business, if we're an owner, or if we're a C-level executive managing this and making decisions for the future of the company, there's things that keep you up at night. As I looked around and did some research on this topic, certain recurring themes came up, and I've decided to put them into two main categories for your decision makers, for your executives. And the first thing that comes up is controlling costs. It doesn't matter where you're at on that management scale. If you're a CEO, CFO, CTO, you're all involved in looking at costs and making sure that you're getting the value out of your investment. And IT budget is always a big concern with this. It boils down to a few categories here that I've put up. Number one primary area of cost is your staff costs. So, you have IT personnel, and average salary alone for an IT professional is somewhere between $60,000 annually up to $100,000 annually, and that's just typically for one person. That's only the wages. That's not even considering some of the additional costs for a full-time employee. Staffing is always a big concern when you're thinking about budget. You're also thinking about your software costs. You know, your software costs could be caught up in your ERP program, your enterprise resource planning, your operating systems for your infrastructure, other Office applications that you need and use, Microsoft Office for an example, and other line of business applications. So software costs can be a significant part of your IT budget as well. Finally, you look at hardware and infrastructure costs. So at some point in your organization, somehow you're going to have servers that are running all this software that you've invested in. You're going to have a network that that supports and interacts with that. And you're going to have everybody's going to have a workstation of some sort. It's going to be a laptop or a desktop. So heavy infrastructure investment in just about any business out there. It's a major line item. Finally, have just general operational costs. This is going to be things like your internet service. This is going to be your phone system. This is going to be space, square footage to keep that hardware and network infrastructure in. It's going to be maintenance costs on the physical space, on the hardware itself. And in addition to that, you're going to have things like climate control. So general operational costs, there's obviously more that would probably be considered at that point, but you know, that's a few items that it captures. So we look at this. This is what's keeping us up at night, and we want to look at how are we going to do this? How are we going to control costs? And again, as I look at this, you know, we talked about that quote earlier on about IT coming in, using all sorts of jargon and just asking for huge sums of money. You know, it's not an ideal model, but how do you address that? How do you make it better? And the key for us is looking at a trusted advisor who specializes in IT knowledge, who specializes in keeping abreast of what's you know, what's available out in the world and what new technology is there to facilitate your business. So if you have a CIO or a CTO, you know, that's great. That gives you an advisor that can fill this role for your company. But we all know that not every business can support an executive at that level, and that's always where it gets a little bit more dicey. You know, one of the ways we address this at Interdyne BMI is we provide consultation services, typically packaged with our managed services product for a virtual CIO. So you know, we address this with you know, regular meetings with our clients, have you know, a person available to call when you need it, who's going to be looking at your overall technology plan. They're going to help with budgeting and planning. They're going to you know, generally provide advice that's going to allow you to maximize what you're doing from a technological standpoint. So number one, at a minimum, you need a trusted advisor to help you make these decisions. You know, staff costs. You know, how do you reduce staff costs? As we talked, you know, $60,000 to $100,000 per employee just for wages. You know, one way that we do that, and those of you who might have attended our managed services presentation last month, you know, we provide managed IT support and services. You know, what does this mean? This means that we you know, manage your network for you in place of your having on-site IT personnel. We do this a few different ways. You know, we're not, you know, out there to necessarily replace and take your IT staff out of the picture. What we might be doing is providing, you know, support level you know, services that you know, that free your team up to focus on other key business applications. So it can take a lot of forms. Or if you don't have the IT staff members, a lot of times we can provide full end-to-end managed services for less than the cost of a full-time employee. So it's a great way to reduce costs and improve outcomes. You're looking at a team of people taking the place of a single, IT staffer who, is going to have certain level of expertise, but, if you have a dozen people with varying, specialties and different areas of expertise, it generally is going to give you better resources at a lower cost. So, big way of helping to support staff costs and reduce this. So, in a nutshell, you're looking at monitoring and maintaining your IT systems and infrastructure for optimal performance. That'll mean your software is kept up to date, your hardware functions properly, and issues are dealt with generally before they impact your business. Additionally, managed services is going to provide you more knowledge about your systems for better budgeting and planning. And it's going to give you a partner whose interests support your interests. Their goals and results are in alignment with your goals. So optimal performance, no downtime, and a secure system benefits you, and those are what is most beneficial to a managed services provider. A managed services provider actually makes more money the better your IT performance, and that may sound counterintuitive. If you look at the old model with a break fix model, your IT was motivated to do more work because more work equaled more revenue. So the more hours that they spend working on something, the more money they're going to make. With a managed services provider, we put systems and tools in place so that minimal effort is required to maintain that optimal performance that you want. Your costs as a client don't change. They're pretty fixed monthly costs. The more hours we spend working on your system, the less we make. So what that means is if everything's tuned up in an optimal performance, we don't have to spend as much time, managing critical situations, and it's a more profitable contract for us. So our motivation and where we make money is exactly in the same place that you make money. Next we look at software costs. You're always going to have software costs. In fact, software costs are typically growing over time here, just because there's more tools out there and we're more reliant on them. How would you reduce some of the costs and control costs there? Primarily at this point, you're looking at a SaaS model and different cloud models. The biggest advantage of this for most clients is it turns this from a capital expenditure into an operational expenditure. There's a lot of different benefits for that your accountants will be able to tell you at length, but at its most essential, it improves cash flow for an organization. You don't have a large cash outlay at any given time. That can reduce the need to finance, which again will save you over time. There are also marginal tax advantages to having something be an operational expense as opposed to a capital expenditure, and that can be a big benefit for you. Moving on to infrastructure costs, we're looking at cloud again. Our focus here at Interdyne BMI is on Microsoft's Azure Cloud. If you're not familiar with it, it's one of the few providers out there, cloud providers, that's on hyperscale. Competitors would typically be things like Google or Amazon. What it means by hyperscale is you have thousands of servers that are highly redundant and less dependent on location. It kind of takes the hardware out of the equation and makes you less dependent on individual machines because you have large blocks of servers that are swapped in as needed. It's a more cost-effective approach, and consequently these large hyperscale providers can provide infrastructure at a much more affordable cost for you. The reason to go to the cloud to replace on-prem hardware is that you basically offload a lot of the risk and a lot of the investment, upfront investment to to the cloud provider. It's again the whole CapEx to OpEx, so capital expenditures changing to operational expenditures going forward. Other reasons to go to the cloud for infrastructure, though, it's highly scalable and flexible. Namely, you pay for what you use. Your storage scales with your data growth. In a traditional hardware basis, you would have to buy a server that was going to accommodate that growth, or invest in additional infrastructure or memory to accommodate your growth. You're only paying for what you use and paying for it as is. It's closer to your electrical bill than it would be to anything else. In addition, you have, you're able to quickly add infrastructure. It's very flexible in the sense that you can spin up a machine, pay for it while you're using it, and then spin it down as you go forward in the future. So again, the Azure Cloud is a very useful tool. It's secure and reliable. You're looking at the 99.99 uptime level. There's additional layers of security that are built into that infrastructure, and then of course you have the redundant data centers. Your typical, enterprise, data centers will be redundant, but they're going to be redundant on a much smaller scale. 1, 2, 3 data centers located across the U.S. versus hyperscale, where you're looking at 13, 14 different data centers just in North America. So much more secure, much more reliable. Finally, looking at operational costs, we're looking at cloud again. I'm just going to give you one example in that situation. If you're looking at enterprise voice options to replace your traditional phone system with your on-prem phone exchange or PBX, and some of the the historical costs related to that. It's becoming, particularly with the Office 365 E5 plan, which includes Skype for Business with it. It's becoming much more cost-effective and easier to get into a online voice option. VoIP is nothing new, voice over IP, but with Microsoft moving into it and having the easy level of entry that Office 365 gives you through that E5 plan, you can do a hosted cloud exchange. You can do PSTN calling. That's your traditional phone network that you can now connect to through the Skype for Business option. You can do PSTN conferencing with that. Again, so conference calls on a large scale, different levels of presentation available with the Office 365 E5 plan. It's a really great solution, and again, you're looking at something that's highly scalable and flexible. It's based on the number of users you have. If you add staff, you'll pay a little bit more, but only for what you're using. If you reduce staff, you're not stuck with infrastructure that's built to handle a much larger organization. So very flexible. And then also in addition to operational costs, most of those costs we talked about when you move to the cloud are eliminated: the space for the hardware, the maintenance, and the climate control. So another way that you can reduce your operational costs, and we keep talking about cloud, but we all know that that's a trend and a direction that things are going. It's not the solution to everything. And I know people get a little overwhelmed sometime when they're, talking about and understanding what the cloud is and what the cloud can do for you. We try to make it as simple as possible and just let you know, essentially, it's somebody else's computer. I always find this particular image comforting because, it's not the mysterious cloud anymore. It's just a computer located somewhere else that allows you to do what you need to do for your business. So pretty helpful here. The second category of concerns that your decision makers, that your executives have, is going to be managing risk. So again, what keeps you up at night? It's managing risk for your business. What's going to impact your business negatively? What do you need to worry about that's out there? What are the problems that are going to come up that you can't predict or that will be difficult to handle? So you want to be able to effectively manage risk, and in this context, you're looking at primarily reducing uncertainty. So this is going to be where we're going to talk about creating predictability and transparency with your approach to IT. Cybersecurity. Every single article out there that I read related to concerns for C-level executives mentions cybersecurity. It's a growing threat landscape that's out there. It's getting more difficult to handle, and it's on everybody's mind. Finally, when it comes to managing risk, we're going to talk about the subject of business continuity planning and the different strategies related to that. In a nutshell, that's at its heart, it's backup and disaster recovery, but business continuity goes into a lot more than that, and we're going to talk about the ways to help plan that. All right. Okay, so when we look at managing risk, how are we going to address this? What's going to get us through this? And again, we come back to the idea of a trusted advisor. You need somebody like an Interdyne BMI virtual CIO to help you with budgeting and planning. You want to be able to know what you're going to spend on IT. You want to make these costs known. You want to be able to plan for failures and not risk a sudden catastrophic failure. So a VCIO is going to be able to look at the data and look at your systems and help predict when that server is going to fail. Hey, it's kicking out a lot of errors right now. We're going to need to replace that hard drive. We're getting warnings from this particular server that we're going to need to take X and X action going forward. So you want to be able to plan for that, and that'll create a predictable IT spend for you. So IT budgets, nothing's worse than when you have a budget and you blow that number out of the water throughout the year. That's going to negatively impact you in a lot of ways. So you want to have a predictable IT spend, either from translating things to regular monthly payments or those operational expenses, and being able to see what you might need in the future to accommodate growth. And again, your trusted advisor is going to help you plan for the long term. They're going to help you look at the big picture. They're going to look at your business plan and make sure that you have the technology you need to support that. And then in addition to a trusted advisor, you need to be able to have maintained systems to help reduce those unforeseen expenses. Again, that's getting to having IT that embraces the same goals that you have as in running a successful business. Next item, cybersecurity. This is one of the biggest topics out there lately, and again, people get more and more concerned. So I listed some of the common threats. You have your malware, you have your Trojans, spyware, worms, adware, bots, phishing. We've heard all of these. The most terrifying of any of these is ransomware. So if you're not familiar with it, ransomware basically infects your system and locks you out of either files or a server or other devices that you need access to run your business. And the only way to free yourself up from that is to pay a ransom to whoever infected your systems. That's usually paid in Bitcoins. So it's as shady as it gets, but it's a fairly common occurrence. There's internet security firms that have had to pay ransom for a crypto locker. There's police stations that have had to pay ransom. So it's out there and it happens, and you want to be prepared for that going forward. we're going to do a webinar coming up next month, in fact, on security that's going to cover a lot of these topics in greater depth and tell you some of the tools and the ways that we can approach and solve these problems for you. It's evolving, it's getting worse. We have listed there CryptoWorm. If you have a self-replicating CryptoLocker virus that can spread to your entire network and to networks that connect and interact with yours, it becomes a much more terrifying prospect here. So these are concerns that you want to be able to address. There's several ways you can address them. You want to make sure that you have a security system that has several layers of security. You want to educate your teams. You want to make sure, again, we get into business continuity. That's one of the other protections from a crypto locker. If you can't unlock it, it's encrypted, but you can go back to a legitimately saved backup that prior to the infection and restore the backup. And that's about the only other way, other than paying ransom, that you can remove that risk. So it's a really big problem, really big concern out there. Additional concerns that they have related to cybersecurity that your decision makers have. One of the key things is the employees. It's not just employees making mistakes. It's the increasing trends of bring your own device and use that for business purposes. It's how do you then manage these mobile devices? So MDM is mobile device management. Microsoft in particular invented their enterprise mobility suite to help manage identity and passwords and control your business information, whether it's on a company issued device or a individual's personally owned device. So there's a lot of tools out there, and again, we're going to be talking about some of these coming up in future webinars. Shadow IT, it's a great risk. It's not an application that your business has chosen to use for business purposes, but people know that there's an application that's out there that's going to fill a need. A common one is your cloud storage, your OneDrive, or your Box, or those different options in that respect. People are going to use it because it makes it easier for them to do their job, but it's outside of your control, and your company data is out there and at risk. Finally, we're looking at business continuity planning. So we talked about this. It's more than just backups. You need to have an effective backup, ideally both on-prem and in the cloud, but not just a backup. It needs to be verified and restorable. So it needs to be something that you can bring up and have confidence that it can be restored. I do have clients I had a client who in fact got infected with a CryptoLocker virus and discovered that their backups had not been backing up since October, and they discovered this in December. So it's a terribly painful situation, and you need to make sure and know on a day-to-day basis that your backups are working and can be restored. And when we talk about business continuity, two key concepts I want to throw out here are RPO and RTO. So RPO is recovery point objective. When if there's a failure or a data loss, how much data can you stand to lose? Can you lose a day's worth of data? Can you lose an hour? What's the cost of that, and what is that? How's that going to impact your business? When considering business continuity, you want to make sure that you know what your business can sustain, so that going forward, you're not wiped out if a data breach occurs. RTO is recovery time objective. So how long can you be down? If your systems go down, can you be out of business for an hour, a day, 3 days? Which is it, and what's the cost tied to those? A typical business operating, one day, loss could be a significant thousands and thousands of dollars, and that can be tough to recover from. So If you're going to manage risk, again, we want to make sure that we're looking at reducing uncertainty, addressing cybersecurity on many different levels, and then doing business continuity planning so that you know that when a disaster occurs, whether it's a fire or a tornado or something as simple as Bob deleted the shared drive on your file server, you want to know that you can recover from that, and that's not going to take your business out of commission. I want to throw out a couple additional benefits to having a sound IT strategy. If you have well-maintained systems that are functioning optimally, if you have a strategy in place that supports your business planning, you can better manage growth. It can also, if you're going to add 20 employees over the next 3 years, you want to make sure that you're going to have the plans in place to support that. Finally, you're looking at easier to meet compliance requirements. We're all familiar with Sarbanes-Oxley, but HIPAA, PCI. If you don't know what's going on with your IT systems, you don't know if you're in compliance. You got to make sure that you have a trusted advisor out there who can help you look at those needs, assess them, and make sure that your technology is supporting that and keeping your business protected. You don't want to be in breach of any of those standards. And finally, if you have a dynamic, thoughtful IT strategy, you're able to leverage that technology for innovation and greater flexibility. You're able to plan and adapt to the needs that come up as they come up. It can be very important to continuing to sustain your business and have it be successful going forward. So that's the majority of what I wanted to talk about with you today, but I do want to lay out, I've mentioned a couple of additional webinars coming up where we're going to go much more in depth on these topics. Our next webinar is going to be on security. So, how are we dealing with these threats? What devices do we have in place for security? What, software and antivirus, anti-malware do you need? Are you filtering for spam? That's your last line of defense for these emails that come through. And do you have a nice socially engineered phishing email that looks legitimate that your staff is going to click on? Well, if your staff is going to click on it, we need to make sure that we, address the idea of the human firewall here. We want to make sure that, that we're dealing with that. After that, our next webinar will be on the Office 365 E5 plan. We're going to be talking about voice, but the E5 does so much more than that, and it's a very powerful tool for your organization. So we'll be talking about that the following month. After that, we're going to take a deeper dive into business continuity. I've given you the 3-minute overview of it, but there's a lot more to be said about it, and it's going to be a great webinar. Finally, we'll explore the Microsoft Azure Cloud. That's going to be a few months from now, and that's going to go in depth about what the capabilities are, what it looks like, how it interacts with your business, and how you can leverage that as a tool. And finally, we're never going to get completely away from hardware and on-premises infrastructure. So we'll explore that as a issue for supporting your business. That's my presentation. I appreciate everybody's time. If there's any questions, I certainly can take them now, but I have my contact information here, and you can reach out to me at any time. I really appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. That's great. And again, on the right-hand side, if you've got questions you'd like to ask while we have them on the line, please do so. Let me just ask you a couple of questions, Kevin. I noticed that there are some of our Dynamics clients on today's presentation and all. What ways would they get engaged other than just reaching out and calling you on managed services? Well, how would they prepare for that conversation? What information should they gather before they give you a shout?
Yeah, I mean the main thing to think about is what you're doing for IT now. what kind of results you're getting, and what you'd like to see change going forward. So every managed services agreement that we create is a customized contract that's based on your specific needs. So when we talk to you, we're going to ask about what your current systems are, how you're currently handling support issues, how do you handle your business continuity, your backups and disaster recoveries, and we're going to look at what we can do to improve that. And again, it's going to be customized to your needs. So we're not going to provide you with tools you don't need, and but we're going to certainly recommend what's necessary to make sure that you're successful here and that your business is profitable going forward.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I thank you for your time today. And again, everybody get in touch with Kevin. We have a team of folks that can help in many different technologies. So it's good to get that planned. And Kevin, when you mentioned fire, I happen to be a victim of losing our business to a fire. And I was thankful that I had my stuff here at home at a home office. But we did lose a lot of records, and it's pretty hard to explain to an insurance company when you don't have the proper information. So always think about worst cases and be prepared. Very, very important when it comes to what the next steps would be. So thank you so much for that. I really